Bună ziua! Se aude? Aș vrea să mă asigur că ne auziți. Puteți să scrieți în chat eventual. Bună ziua! Vă mulțumim pentru participare și timpul acordat în această dimineață. Numele meu este Mihaela Iorgulescu și reprezint departamentul de marketing al companiei Maguay. La webinarul de astăzi, în decurs de aproximativ o oră, dorim să vă prezentăm o soluție integrată de backup repository împreună cu doi parteneri tradiționali, Vim, o companie specializată în soluții de backup, și Infortrend, o companie specializată în soluții de stocare. Maguay a livrat soluții de la ambii parteneri și are o experiență tehnică pentru astfel de implementări. Ca și desfășurare, pentru început, Valeria Codrean de la Veeam ne va face o scurtă prezentare despre companie, urmată de prezentarea Infortrend, susținută de Louis East, și în partea a doua vom intra un pic în partea mai tehnică a webinarului și vom avea un demo tehnic cu capabilitățile soluției integrate de backup repository și acest demo va fi prezentat de Vladimir Chirițescu, inginer Vim. De asemenea, nu ezitați să ne adresați întrebări, de preferat în chat sau în secțiunea de Q&A, și vă reamintim că cei mai activi participanți vor fi premiați. O să dau cuvântul Valeriei de la Vim, care va face o scurtă introducere despre Vim și vom continua și cu restul și cu ceilalți parteneri.
Bună dimineața! We will switch for the presentation in English. Just one moment to share the screen. Please let me know if you see it. Louis, I saw you were saying something. You were on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Good. And, I will start with a few details about Vim, a short overview about the company. About myself, I'm Valeria Codran, General Manager at Vim, working for more than 2 years. Good. The company was founded in 2006, coming from the idea or observing at that point the need that technology evolves, and this evolution creates a huge amount of data. This digital transformation was adopted and is continuing to be adopted by a lot of people, of companies going into digital era, and it's very important to have in mind and observe that data that is created by the business needs that should be protected, and not just protected but also reused in order to take business decisions, in order to look at the company history, data history behind, to make some product strategy, research and development decisions. That's the main idea when our co-founders started to evolve the product. We started for a virtual environment back then in 2006, most focus being on that. Since then, our product evolved a lot, Now we came up with a solution which is simple, 100% verified recoverability. Having this said, I would mention that we always say to customers, it's very important to have a backup, and now know that the data is there, but most important is to be able to recover from that backup, and not knowing that that we will be able to use the data in case we need it. Also, the product is scalable, coming from a scalable architecture. That means that you always can add more workloads, more users on the top. No need to do another implementation, another configuration. Also, we say that we have a flexible product now, which is 100% software defined. We are agnostic from the hardware perspective, from the environment perspective. So we have no block-ins in any kind of environment. Also, our product is reliable. We have 24/7 support. It brings the customer the feature of instant recovery, meaning that they can recover from the backup repository in case something happens to your product environment. Even though we call the product that is simple and flexible, we have an very mature and complex single platform of management for all the workloads, for all the environments coming from cloud. We have special products developed for cloud environment, software as a service, meaning backup for Office 365, enterprise applications, virtual environment like VMware, Hyper-V, Nutanix, and we also operate physical servers and operation systems for them. All of them are combined in one single platform that brings more than backup and replication capabilities, having there also monitoring, reporting, analytics, orchestrations of disaster recovery sites in case you have more than one site, and of course data reuse. That is what I was mentioning at the beginning. That's important to use the data use the data in order to take business decisions, coming that from the sales perspective or product or strategy of your company. One more thing that we always focus on and we always tell to our customer is to follow this 3-to-1 rule. We also call it strategy, 3-to-1 strategy, which means 3 copies of data on 2 different medias, one of which is offsite. So in case something happens with our primary site, we are always able to recover from our copy offsite. And we also added 2 more digits here, which is one of these offsite copy that we have characteristics developed for to be air-gapped or immutable. That means this backup cannot be changed. The data inside of it cannot be changed. So we are sure that we are not, for example, attacked by ransomware. And we added also here 0, which means 0 error after backup recoverability verification. Here comes one of our characteristics that gives to the customer the possibility to check the backups, to check if the backup is recoverable. Again, it's very important to verify the backups and be sure that we will be able to recover from them in case something happens with our primary site. Few details about licensing. I was mentioning about the product that is simple, flexible, and it just works. The same is for licensing in our case. We have 2 types of licensing, but the most important is that we license per workload, meaning here perpetual license per socket. This is about virtualized hardware. So we counter here number of sockets not number of data. And we have subscription license. We call it Vim Universal License. And here we license by cloud machine, virtual machine, physical application, file shares. So we take into account the number of workloads here, not the data in the back. And to dig a bit deeper in VUL licensing, one cool feature which I like here is that this license is portable. So you can always transfer the license from one workload to another. For example, let's say you have a physical server and you decided to go into virtualized environment. So you will disable this physical server from the production. You can always transfer the license from that physical server to a virtual one. So yeah, it's portable. Affordability comes from the fact that we do not care about how much data is behind the workload. So if your machine, for example, grew up in the data amount, we will not charge additionally. So one-time price only. And the simplicity comes from the fact that we have in Vim Universal License just one version, Vim Enterprise Plus, which has all the features enabled, all the characteristics that product has you can use for your environment. So you do not have to configure out which version will suit you. We have one product with the highest capabilities and the highest version in it. And all this development, all this product enforced brought us to #1 in Magic Garter quadrant in the ability to execute. This is the last report that was issued in June 2020, and we are placed as leaders in the 4th quadrant in ability to execute. This being said, I thank you for your time, and I'm passing the stage to Louis that will continue with an overview and more details into Infortrend storage.
Thank you, Valeria.
I'll stop share now.
Okay. Thanks, Valeria. That was really good. So let me just share my screen. Okay, can everyone see my slide okay?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. Okay. So my name is Lewis and I'm a pre-sales here at Infortrend. So in this presentation, I will focus on, oops, 1 second, just adjusting my screen. So yes, in this presentation, I'll focus on the storage model being used in this demo today and why our units are great for use with Veeam backup and replication. If you have any questions, please save these until the end when there'll be some time for this then. So Infortrend is a global and credible storage vendor, and we've been operating for over 25 years now. We have deployed more than 1 million rack-mounted systems worldwide to date. In recent years, the Storage Performance Council has said that we're one of the price performance leaders in the market for enterprise-class storage. So our product development, design and manufacture is all done in-house at our Taiwan facility and HQ. Infortrend unit management software, SandWatch and EON1. Our system firmware and hardware, it's all designed by our own R&D department, and none of that design process or production is outsourced. So in the market, you can see that we're suitable for most size organizations. We've got a unit to fit most needs, and these are just some of our competitors in the market listed here as well. Our storage is most commonly used for backups, media and entertainment production, high performance computing, and for data storage for CCTV as well. Before I get into the technical aspects of our storage, I just want to discuss our UK office that supports our European end users and channel sales partners. So we have a number of staff here that can assist you in a number of different languages for pre and post sales support. And we welcome direct questions and calls from our end users and anyone that's interested in our products, really. And we can offer you plenty of advice about how to best meet your storage requirements. So we can advise when new systems are being set up and remotely configure them, set up the RAID, etc., in a way that's optimal for your needs, if you'd like us to do that. Infortrend storage systems come with a 3-year warranty, and this can be extended up to 5 years. This can be upgraded to next business day parts dispatch. And we also have on-site service that's next business day in Romania and those surrounding countries. Today I will be focusing on the RAID protection and SAN storage features of the EonStore GS system. And if you'd like to know more about the NAS features of this device, please visit our main website. The model we're using today for the demo is GS2000. It's a mid-range model that delivers good performance and is still cost effective. So we have higher performance GS models as well that include stuff like all flash arrays, and these work great for primary storage as well. GS is compatible with a number of third-party backup software solutions, including Veeam. And Infortrend storage works great for virtualized environments at a block or NAS level. We work closely with companies listed on the screen to ensure compatibility and quick qualification whenever new versions of these softwares are released. And GS supports multiple RAID protection levels and scales to petabyte level storage capacity. Capacity can be expanded further by adding SAS JBODs that we sell in various form factors from 12 right up to 60 bay. So this is a rear view of GS1000, another popular unit for backup, and this is our entry-level model. The modular and redundant design of all the components ensures that everything can be accessed and removed easily. Infortrend offers a range of port options that come on swappable cards, so you're never locked into certain built-in ports that the unit comes with. These host boards connect the storage controllers to host servers, and the ones pictured here are 4-port 16 gigabit. In a later slide, I'll show you some of the other port types that we support. The management features on each controller include dedicated 1 gig ports and mini USB to serial cable connection. The management can be accessed through a file level data channel as well, if you choose to enable this. So these different ways to access the unit management ensure that you'll always be able to closely monitor the system, and there's also redundancy in connection to the management. This is a topology view of the Infortrend storage, virtualization server, and Veeam software that we're looking at today. Our storage can be used for VM data stores as a backup repository as well. These can be located on the same system or more than one storage unit in a storage network. You can read more about this in our Veeam application notes document. This is found on our website on our backup solutions page. So Veeam storage features, they complement Infortrend storage very well. used together, you can create a feature-rich VM or physical server backup solution. So I'll just talk about the dedupe that comes with Veeam. Normally with dedupe compression, you would enable this either as a service running on the storage system or at a host side via software. And many storage providers actually include dedupe compression by default as part of the price of the storage system. However, end users will end up paying for this kind of feature, whether it's needed or not. So Infortrend is cost effective and different because you only pay for the storage data services like dedupe and compression that you'd actually want to run at the storage unit level. So I could include something like remote replication or cloud backup service as well as other examples of data services that you can choose to add to Infortrend units. You don't have to buy it as part of the system. Veeam's dedupe and compression, it works fantastic for Veeam backup jobs. So it would be the logical dedupe and compression technology to use with Infortrend storage. We are Veeam ready and certified. I'll give you some time to read this before moving on to the next slide. Okay, Maguay Airport in Vietnam is using Veeam with Infortrend in a virtualized environment. The GS3000 series used for this is ideal for an end user as large as an airport that would generate vast quantities of data. As we'll see on the next slide, the GS3000 write performance is much higher than GS2000. So it will handle very large backups containing many VMs and volumes, and it will quickly and reliably back everything up in a short window of time. I've included this slide just as it shows and compares the range of GS models that we sell and the hardware differences. Do keep an eye out on our website in the next couple of months, as at the end of July, we're actually launching new U.2 NVMe versions of GS and DS. So those units will deliver even greater throughput and IOPS than our SATA SSD models. Infortrend SSD cache can improve random read I/O for SAN storage volumes. And this is something that you can use with our storage. We have a license for this that we can sell. The cost for this is minimal and it can be implemented with as little as one SSD per controller and a DRAM upgrade. It's ideal for boosting performance of HDD volumes used as data stores for VMs, for example. So frequently read OS files will be intelligently copied automatically into the SSD cache. That provides better overall performance and system IOPS. We also have auto storage tiering as well, and that runs again on the unit itself. No additional software is required. And it's suitable for medium to high IOPS applications that require large SAN storage volumes for big data sets that become infrequently accessed shortly after that data is generated. So backups, for example. The higher write speeds and IOPS of SSD can be utilized for backups by writing to the SSD RAID tier first. And then as the backup data ages and becomes cold data, the backup would be moved to the HDD tier, so the slower storage, and the volume sits upon both the SSDs and the HDD RAID sets. So data in tiered volumes, it remains in the same access location for easy retrieval. You don't have to move anything to another volume that would use a different level of storage, different drive type. So our management software for GS is called EON1, and it's used for managing one or multiple GS units in a local network. This can be run in most popular web browsers. It's the full EON1 application with all our data service features. This is installed on commonly used Linux, Windows, and Mac OS servers and client. For a free and personalized demo of this, please contact the Infortrend UK team and we can show you more of the GS system features and management. A great feature of EON1 that we have is Service Manager. If enabled, the unit will detect if any disk or component has failed or if it's operating abnormally. It can alert us automatically on your behalf so we can work on the issue before you may even be aware of what's happened. Our Infortrend technical support is free for the lifetime of your system, so that includes obviously after warranty ends, and it's always free to talk to us. On our website you'll find a ticket system to log issues, and a phone support system in the UK is in place for end users and our resellers as well. So I'll talk now about a couple of data protection features our units have. First one is DRAM cache protection. This protects against sudden unit power loss or controller failure. And this feature will protect data in the volatile memory that's not yet written to disk. Supercapacitor powers the controller long enough for all data to be safely written to the flash module on the controller. And when normal unit operation is restored and powers back, the data is then copied from that flash module to the RAID drives. This prevents data corruption from failed write to disk in the event of a power cut. And we don't use batteries for cache protection. We use supercaps as batteries can degrade and typically need replacing after about 3 to 4 years. So our power source, the supercap, can last for 5 or more years and it doesn't really need replacing. Infortrend has included 2 main IDR technologies in GS software. The first one, we scan for bad HDD blocks, and this can be set to run as a scheduled task, set to operate at times of light unit use. Scanning and block repair activities, they suspend and run based on storage I/O demand to prevent performance loss and slowdown. So tough media errors can be avoided with this. It maximizes the drive life by utilizing spare blocks on the hard drives that aren't otherwise used. For backup applications, we suggest to use RAID 6 or 10 with at least 1 spare drive. And IDR can be enabled to detect a failing drive in a RAID set, and it will actually clone the disk before it fails to another spare disk in the system. And then obviously upon completion, that failing drive that's reporting media errors or whatever, that can be then removed. So in effect, the RAID is less likely to enter like a degraded state when a drive normally fails. Obviously, you then got to pull it out, rebuild the RAID set with a blank disk. But because you've cloned a drive before the bad disk has failed, you don't have to do this. So performance loss is minimized, and obviously the degraded state time is reduced. I put this slide in to summarize the key GS features I showed, and I'll just mention a couple more points. The HDD and SSD that we sell and qualify are enterprise class, will come with a 5-year warranty from the manufacturer and Infortrend. Anytime you can replace failed disks through us, we'll replace with a like-for-like drive. So we never issue a credit instead of a replacement disk. HDD and NVMe SSD purchased from Infortrend together with GS systems, they will benefit from advanced replacement. So that's usually next business day dispatch. So lastly, about our drives, we can supply self-encrypting drives as well, and we also support end users to keep their failed drives on site. So this is especially important for end users such as military, medical institutions, who sometimes can't return disks for replacement due to the nature of the data they're storing. If you want to know more about Infortrend storage solutions, please visit our website and follow our social media pages. On the right here, I've just listed some of our other product families you may be interested in. Thank you for listening. That's the end of my presentation. I think we'll do questions at the end, or just in the chat section if you just drop a message. Okay, that's my bit.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you.
Done.
So my name is Vladimir Chirițescu. I'm a systems engineer in Vim, and I will continue with the presentation. Hopefully you can see my screen. Can I have a yes on the chat?
I can see that, Vlad. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Valeria. Thank you, Luis. So the presentation, I will continue talking about Vim and Infortrend working together. In the end, we are going to see the Vim Council and a couple of things regarding Vim and Infortrend storage as a repository. So Valeria talked about our history. She talked about how Vim started. And now I will continue about the IT trends from 2020 and 2021. So let's start. 2020 was a unique year for the world. Yeah, everybody can relate to this. It created a new set of pressure for IT departments. Overnight, centralized IT organizations were catapulted into a high distributed network, now supporting a highly remote workforce. Actually, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm working from home. So this highly remote workforce brings us a lot of challenges. Budgets were tightened and even more strategic plans were slowed down. And unfortunately, ransomware is on the rise. This resulted in a new set of challenges and in many cases, outcomes for IT plans through 2020 fall down actually. Going further, 2021, what brings to the IT strategy? The results shows a massive investment change in IT delivery. In fact, only 4% of the organization that we surveyed were not anticipating any significant changes in 2021. That means that more than 95%, they are going into major changes. In the first month of pandemic, 91% of the organization increased their usage of cloud services significantly. This came as a result of remote workers using software as a service-based collaboration services and the increased challenge for IT to maintain an on-premises physical operations. This trend will continue through 2021, with the majority of organizations planning to add more cloud services and cloud usage for their IT delivery strategy. Unfortunately, we also saw a massive increase in the ransomware attacks due to both motives. It's remote workers and the highly distributed data. This shift must be highly considered when examining resources such as data protection and of course management, with the large shift to cloud-based IT strategy data. Support systems like backup and disaster recovery must be modernized. Availability, due to, I would say, dependency on legacy systems and operation, is still a critical factor in many organizations, but also the lack of core functionality to provide backup and recovery capabilities. What we see, an average of 20-something% of the servers had at least one unexpected outage in the last year. With as such, the integrity of backup becomes actually critical. You need to be able to ensure confidence that the backup is successful and can be used for recovery. Also, our research showed that 37% of the backups ended up with errors, or maybe they're not complete, or maybe they are not in the allocated backup window. Our research also showed that 1/3, actually 34% of all restores are failing within the expected SLAs. Those are some scary features, which mean that more than half of the time organizations won't be able to restore their services to either failed backups or failed restores. While there can be many factors relating to this, including environment complexity, lack of capability with legacy solution and IT skills, the adoption of modern data protection and processes will have an instant positive impact on your IT organization. Let's go further and see the promise of modern data protection. Enterprises cannot sustain this aggressive growth or increased need for greater customer intimacy without a strong modern data protection platform. Sooner or later, the cost and effort of maintaining this legacy protection solution that most of the companies are still using will significantly impact your production systems. The need for this modern data protection feels more promising than ever. Why do we need it? Okay, so why do we need a modern data protection? It will actually modernize the backup and recovery of your systems. You can meet your IPOs, RTOs faster, you can reduce cost and complexity and break free from this legacy backup. Also, you can accelerate the migration towards cloud services like Office 365, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and so on. You can move to cloud more confidently when you know that your data is protected. You can also deliver reliable ransomware protection and data security. You can detect with Vim and protect and recover your most critical data in different scenarios. Moreover, Vim is also interconnected with Kubernetes, so we have a native Kubernetes backup, disaster, and recovery. You can rapidly deploy and protect your modern applications. As Valeria said, we are the most trusted provider of backup solutions that deliver this kind of modern data protection. Vim provides you with the confidence to accelerate digital services and drive business resiliency, ensuring that your data is always protected and available. Vim has been named #1 choice for all backup across all segments, but just don't take my word for it. Look into Forrester, Gartner. Vim continues to be a leader in Gartner's Magic Quadrant year after year. Ovum select Vim as #1 clear leader for data protection. IDC also named Vim the #1 market share growth for data protection, beating all legacy solutions. Forrester also showcases Vim as a leader in data resiliency solutions. And Vim receives one of the highest customer choice ratings in Gartner peer review and many others. Our design strategy, as Valeria said, it's simple, flexible, reliable, and powerful. Vim product design philosophy centers around 3 principles: simplicity, flexibility, and reliability. Those principles drive us to build solutions that are easy to use, easy to administrate, and quite flexible enough to work with any hardware or cloud platform that you might be using. But let's go further and see our core focus. It might be obvious to say, but protecting is the first step in efficiency and in management of your data. Well-managed and protected data provides the foundation to drive innovation faster, to deliver improved customer and employee experiences, and of course will drive the business going, right? This is the heart of digital transformation. Modern business requires modern data protection that not only allows for backup and recovery of core infrastructure and application, but also enables the lowest possible operational overhead through automation and seamless scalability across any volume of data, or maybe better said, any workload type. You can protect your data by delivering digital resiliency with data protection, with reduced overhead and reduced costs. You can manage your data to ensure digital trust with intelligent data management that increases availability. And Vim actually has a single platform that enables organizations to deliver this kind of data protection. So let's talk a bit more about this Vim platform. Yeah, it can be used for data reuse, disaster recovery orchestration. We have monitoring, analytics, of course, backup and recovery, and a lot more. Why companies are trying to make a change right now? Yeah, so those years 2020 and 2021 were very critical. Downtime doesn't just make an inconvenience. Yeah, it can have vast and damaging effects on the organization. As I said, in 2020, the average downtime for an outage from our research was around 79 minutes, if I remember well. And this, the cost of this 79 minutes was an average of $84K per hour. It has a significant financial impact, I would say. However, the impact cannot be measured solely in costs per hour. There are many other potential downsides for this kind of outages. According to our respondents, there are 3 core impacts in downtime. So besides money-wise, external impact, including loss of customer confidence and damage to the brand, internal impacts such as employee morale and diversion of resources. And the third one will be, of course, litigation and regulation, which can have a much more significant effect on your company valuation. Then data protection can deliver new levels of confidence and also operational excellence, ensuring that your data is always protected and available. Organizations using modern data protection are experiencing significant cost savings. Of course, increased RPOs and RTOs objectives and more substantial ransomware protection and cost recovery. In fact, 95% of Vim customers, and we have a lot of customers, more than 400,000, experienced little or no financial impact due to all ransomware attacks. They had 3 times shorter backup windows and greater RPOs and RTOs objectives that were met. Now, going into storages. Yes, Vim integrates with a lot of storages, and Infortrend is one of our alliance partners. So Infortrend is a trusted alliance partner. If you need a good, fast, and reliable repository, then Infortrend is a solution. It is tested with the latest Vim software. The EON Store DS, also the GS, also the CS storage have achieved Vim Ready Repository classification by exceeding its performance requirements for processes such as full backup, incremental backup, full VM restore, instant VM recovery, synthetic fulls backup, instant recovery, and actually all other features. Therefore, enterprising utilizing Vim for virtual or physical backups can now choose these storages. Yeah, so you can choose one of the Infortrend solutions. Now let's go and see the console. Good. So we saw how Infortrend works with Vim. Yeah, so we can very easily go to, this is the Vim console. Yeah, as Valeria said, we are using a license based per workloads, number of workloads. So I'm having 1,000 instances and I'm using only 10. Yeah, good. From the console, we can go to the backup infrastructure and add our repository. Yeah, very easy. I have a mounted volume as a D drive from Infortrend storage. And I can also use this Infortrend storage as an SysSMB share for my backups. Yeah, so it can be used both ways. We can go to home jobs. We can see that we have a couple of jobs. Yeah, a couple of virtual machines. We can go through the backup job and see what do we have here. Yeah, so we chose from our vCenter. We chose the machines that we want to back up in this backup job. Yeah, and we are putting those backups in our repository. This one is the SMB repository from Infortrend. Yeah, and then we can clearly see how it goes, right? So we have a data throughput of processing rate, huge speeds. Yeah, very nice speeds with each machine. Yeah, we can also see a full backup. We also have this was the previous one, or the incremental backup. This is a full backup. Yeah, we're having also very good throughput speeds of processing the data. If we would need to, let's say, restore, Luis, if you can direct me to the vCenter.
Yeah, no problem.
Working together. Thank
Okay.
you, Luis.
So Vladimir, if you launch a new Chrome window.
Yeah. I see the vCenter. No, it's not here.
Let's see, refresh. Okay, so launch an actual new Chrome window, not a tab.
Okay. New Chrome window. It's about this one.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, let me get my credentials. Let me put my password.
So Vlad, before we run the next test, should we have a look at what Infortrend hardware we're using today? I can show that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and let's see the Infortrend storage that we're using. Okay.
Could it be made so that I could share the screen?
Yes, of course. But the screen is shared by me, so you can do your job on right here.
I can't share my screen.
Okay, no problem. So I will stop sharing and you will be able to share your screen.
Okay. Okay, I'm now the host, so I'll share my screen. Okay. Okay, can everybody see this Infortrend screen?
Yes, yes.
Yep. Okay, so the unit we're using today, we can take a look at that. If we go to enclosure view, so as I said, we're using a GS2000 16 bay today. And if we click on one of these drives, we can see we're using 8 terabyte, just normal SAS hard drives, nearline SAS. We have 12 of these in this unit. And in our expansion enclosure we're using today, it's a 60 bay, it's one of our big ones, and we have 8 3.5-inch hard drives. We're using for the SAN volume backup, the 12 drives in GS2000, and then for our NAS-based backup, those 12 drives in the expansion enclosure are being used. And we have got 10 gigabit channels I can show you for the SAN access and also the NAS access as well. So we can see each of these channels for controller A and controller B here. So I'll stop sharing now and pass it back to Vladimir.
Thank you, Luis. Okay, I'm sharing back my screen. Thank you very much, Luis. So we saw the storage, we saw the connectivity. Yes, of course, we have 10 gigabit connectivity. This is how we achieve greater speeds, right? So let's go into my vCenter. Yeah, I can see that I have a couple of machines. I'm backing them up with Vim backup and replication. We saw the job running and we are having great speeds also for full backup and also for incremental backup, right? So the storage is quite good. We have great speeds. So the bottleneck actually, even though we're having 10 gigabit, will be on the network. So there is no overhead load on the storage itself, right? Now, to see a simple restore, we can actually do it. We have a couple of more minutes. So let's go into the vCenter and try to delete one of the machines. Yeah, so we are having, let's take this machine. Let's power off this machine and let's delete it. Yeah, so let's delete it by mistake. Good. No more Linux machine. Now let's go to our console. We can grab the backups, yeah, from the backups tab. Under disk, I will choose the backup job where this machine is located. Yeah, and I will just right click, or I can use the upper left button for an instant recovery, meaning that Vim will be able to power on the machine from the backup file, or I can just use an entire VM recovery, meaning that Vim will just put it back on the default location. Remember also the ransomware protection. I can also make a stage restore, meaning that Vim will scan the machine with a default antivirus. If you don't have an antivirus on your backup system, then Vim will still be using Windows Defender to be sure that everything is in order. Now, let's make a default restore to the original location and see how a 20 gigabyte machine will be able to be restored in the production environment. Yeah, I can also have the option to power on the machine after restoring. It will take a couple of minutes. We actually have 20 gigabytes, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, so Vim will retrieve the machine from the backup. The machine in the backup file on the Infortrend storage is actually compressed and duplicated. It sits inside a backup file. Moreover, this backup file, it's not always a full backup. It has increments depending on how many times you run the backup job. Yeah, so Vim will need also to inject the increments into the full backup and reconstruct the virtual machine so it can be able to be moved back to the original data store and original host. In the back, we can also see the actions from the vCenter. Yeah, so everything can be seen also in vCenter, everything that it's happening. Yeah, so we can also go to the vCenter and check out what's happening in here. Yeah, you can see that Vim is recreating. Yeah, so it registered the new machine and now it's reconfiguring the machine. It's of course decompressing the data and putting it back to the vCenter. So let's check out the running job. Yeah, full VM restore. We are having almost 99%. So it's almost done. We can also see how much. So the machine is 20 gigabytes, but actually the data inside is 12 gigabytes. So we're having more than 200 megabytes per second for the restore operation. Good. Yeah, so it's done. It's done. So Vim is telling me that the machine is up and running and also having exactly 2 minutes for the whole machine restore. This is because we're having a great storage with very good reading speeds right now. And also we're having a good network for this. Yeah, so we can see in the vCenter, the machine is up and running. I can go access the machine. Yeah, I can check it out. Yeah, so the machine is up and running in my infrastructure, and it took me only 2 minutes for the full VM restore. I would gladly show you much options, many backup, restore options, also sure backup jobs to be sure that the backups are okay and recoverable, but unfortunately we don't have too much time. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you have the main idea why to use Vim and Infortrend together. I hope that you have an idea about the storage itself, the capabilities, and the speed. This is the most important, the speed that you can achieve with Vim and Infortrend together. Thank you very much. I will stop the share and I will give the word to the guys from Maguay. Thank you, everybody.
Dacă sunt întrebări, puteți să ne scrieți în chat sau să ridicați mâna și să le puneți în direct. Dacă nu aveți întrebări pentru moment, le puteți trimite și ulterior către account manager sau pe adresa de e-mail sales@maguay.ro și vă putem răspunde ulterior. De asemenea, dacă aveți nevoie de mai multe detalii, să aprofundăm mai mult pe acest subiect, o putem face. Deci nu sunt întrebări. Atunci vă mulțumim frumos pentru participare și ne vedem la următoarele Maguay Labs pe care le vom organiza. Vă dorim o zi bună.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bună.
Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.